Welcome in, belly up, have a seat, and grab a drink as we talk some Wingman Fantasy Football. Welcome into another edition of Wingman Fantasy Football, the League Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Furley, and as always, I'd like to thank all of you, or any of you who may be watching or listening to today's show. And it is my great pleasure to welcome back to the bar, Mr. Bernie, aka Team B.
I'm Cuban B. Yes, Cuban B.
How are you doing tonight, Bernie?
I'm doing well, but not as good as you. Happy birthday, Michael.
Oh, thank you so much.
I've got some shots coming up here in a minute.
Okay, cool. Before they get on their way here, I got a question for you. Did you enjoy your night off in the last episode?
I did enjoy the night off. I thought I was going to get to bed early, but I still stayed up like an hour past the time I should have went to bed.
Okay.
But I did get some good rest, and I was happy in the moment. And then I watched the episode the next morning, and then I was sad. A tear.
Oh, well, we're glad to have you back today, and that's all that matters. You know, I told the audience the last time I had a late day at work, and it wasn't fair to ask you to stay up with me to get that out. So I appreciate your availability and enjoy your night off. But we're back. We're getting ready. We're getting back into it.
Oh yeah.
It looks like the shots have arrived. Thank you, bartender. All right. Happy birthday to me. Thank you, Bernie.
Happy birthday, sir. You don't look a day over 25.
Oh, thank you. You're a liar. But I appreciate it.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah. For you guys who aren't aware out there, this is our third take of this. And so we've had to start over a couple times.
Now we know why in movies they don't use real alcohol when they're doing scenes.
All right, guys, we have a jam-packed episode for you this time around. This is episode 97, a week 3 preview. And in this episode, we will set the slate for the weekend's primetime games, check in on the player news and practice reports, check in on our waiver wire activity, go over this week's Wingman Fantasy Football matchups, see who's on top of the newest power rankings, and we also have our starts of the week. We are also graced with another installment of Fourth and Long with Bernie, and we'll see who's heating up in this week's Wingman Jam. And of course, we'll dive into our mailbag. But before we do any of that, let's make sure that everybody is in the room. Wingman Assemble! All right, guys, we have a full slate of games this week. Once again, no bye weeks have occurred yet. I think the first one's next week. I should have that in front of me, but I don't. But there's no bye weeks in week 3, so we have a full slate of games. But the week is going to come down a little bit differently this time around, as there are 2 Monday night games this week. So check your players' rosters and be aware of that change. All right, let's see the schedule let's set the schedule for this week's primetime games. Starting off with Thursday night, we have the New England Patriots marching their way over to Jersey to take on their divisional foe, the New York Jets, and that took place at 8:15 p.m. The Sunday night game this week is the Kansas City Chiefs heading down to Atlanta, to Hotlanta, to take on the Falcons, and that's at 8:20 p.m. And once again, like I said, there are 2 games on Monday night. The early game will be the Jacksonville Jaguars, who will be on the prowl as they head up north to take on the Buffalo Bills. That game's at 7:30. Be aware for those guys who get out of work late like me to set your lineups or check out the news. Also on Monday night at 8:15 p.m., we have the Commanders are heading over to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. Are any of those games of any interest to you, Mr. Bernie?
The one in Hotlanta is of interest to me. That is going to be a matchup between a couple of our players, and it's going to be exciting. Also, the Atlanta Falcons are giving away free food this Monday night. So if you're in the Atlanta area, head down to the stadium. You get a free hot dog, chips, and drink. And the fountain drinks are free refills all night.
Oh, wow. Do you know what else is I just realized, as you mentioned food in Atlanta, the Chick-fil-A will be open. Oh, no, it's Sunday night. I thought it was a Monday night game. Darn it. I was going to say it's a Monday night game. The Chick-fil-A will be open, but no, it will not.
No, it will not.
I'm sorry about that. All right. As for the Thursday night games, starting off our week 3, we had 4 players in our managers' lineups on Thursday night, with Mac Daddy 2s having Breece Hall of the Jets and the New England defense going. A little contradiction. He doesn't know who he's rooting for in that one. And we have Lion Eyes had Garrett Wilson active on Thursday night. And Crazy Fish, off his big upset victory, had Ramondre Stevenson up in his lineup on the Thursday night game. All right, now for some player news and practice reports. All right, guys, starting off with Cooper Kupp is wearing a cast to help minimize the swelling in his ankle after being diagnosed with a high ankle sprain. The Rams have not put him on the IR, and they're going to try and avoid to do so, monitoring his swelling going forward. Keep in mind they have till Saturday at 4 p.m. to put him on the IR to have that game count for this week. So if he makes it past 4 o'clock on Saturday, there's a decent chance he'll be back within less than 4 games. Another big-time receiver, A.J. Brown, one of Bernie's Team B's player, has not been practicing this week and is heading towards missing his second consecutive game. Raheem Mostert has returned to practice in a limited capacity, but he should be able to return for week 3. And Jordan Love has returned to practice. He's practicing in pads, and he may return to the field this week against the Titans, although the reports are it's 50-50 at the moment, and if he plays, he will not be 100%. My opinion, they're going to let him rest one more week before they bring him back, but it obviously shows that he is close to returning and may even return this week. Evan Ingram, who injured himself sneezing before the game in week 2, is looking like he's going to miss another game on Monday night. And Deebo Samuel has been missing practice all week, and it's looking like he will most likely miss week 3. And Ken Walker, Texas Ranger, is still not practicing. Actually, there's a video going around of him reaching for his side as he was jogging, which means it looks like he may miss another week, opening the door for another start for Charbonnet. Another 49er player who popped up on the injury report as George Kittle on Thursday left practice with hamstring tightness, adding to the 49ers injury woes. Keep an eye on his status heading into the weekend as the 49ers play. I thought it said the Sunday night game, but that's not right, is it? When do they play? They play at 4 o'clock. They play the later game on Sunday, but not the night game. So just keep an eye on his availability for the 49ers. T. Higgins has returned to practice, and it looks like he may make his season debut in a juicy matchup against the Commanders. Justin Jefferson, who left last game with a quad injury, said it was just a minor tweak, and he should be good to go for week 3. And the Sun God, Amon-Ra St. Brown, who limped off the field in week 2, has been practicing in full and should be good to go. Keenan Allen, you know what? He's starting to miss games, Bernie. I think I'm allowed to call him his nickname. Should I leave it? I'll leave it one more week.
Yeah, one more week.
All right. If he misses next week, I'm going back to it. I'm going back.
All right.
So, Keenan Allen has not been practicing with an injured foot, and it looks like he is in line to miss his second straight game, although that is not fully determined yet. And that is it for the player news. Is there anything that caught your attention or anything you might want to add?
No, I think you wrapped that up pretty good.
I noticed there's 2 players on there right now. There are 2 of your starters, generally speaking, in Ken Walker and A.J. Brown. Last I looked, you have Ken Walker in your starting lineup, showing a bit of optimism. But what are you looking at for a potential pivot if he doesn't play?
Ooh, if Ken Walker doesn't play, I'm going to put in, it's a toss-up at the moment, Darnell Mooney or Pickens. So it's I got slim Pickens on my bench, and I just picked up Mooney. So we can get into that, though.
Yep, we will. We'll get into that when we get to our matchups. All right, guys, now it's time to check in on the activity of our waiver wire. This week, we had 6 waiver claims, and there were 4 NFL players receiving multiple bids. Derek Carr went to Cubert's Rage for $8, outbidding They Took Our Jobs, who put in a $3 bid. Kareem Hunt went to Red Sox Nation for $7, and the only other bid on Kareem Hunt was a price check bid of $0 from Amazing Spidey. Alec Pierce went to They Took Our Jobs for $3, outbidding the bid of $0 from Cubert Rage. And the Tampa Bay defense, we mentioned them as a potential streamer this week, went to Red Sox Nation for $3. And Khalil Shakur went to Cubert's Rage for $2, outbidding Amazing Spidey's $0. and Rome Adunze. What do you have to say about this one? To Amazing Spidey for $2. I see you didn't put a bid back on him, even for $0 to try and get him back. You're letting him go.
Yeah, I was letting him go. I wasn't able to acquire Caleb yet. And I have a feeling you might drop him. He's sitting at the end of your bench. He doesn't play. If he doesn't play well, I think you might drop him. So I could pick him back up for free later on. So I'm not too worried about it.
The other thing that caught my attention, because right now these are waiver claims that had prices on their head, if you will. Let's see. Carson Steele went for $0 and no secondary bids. I actually forgot to put that on there. I guess that was a waiver pickup for $0.
Yeah,
Might have been one or two other ones. I was kind of doing guys that went for a price here. So keep in mind here that Kareem Hunt went for 7 and Carson Steele went for 0. And I believe you mentioned to me right before we started recording here that Samaje Perine was available, or maybe that was my brother. I was talking to my brother earlier. Someone mentioned Perine was available.
Perine is available, and I think that'll shake out where it would be Steele. And then if Steele fumbles, if for some reason Andy Reid gets upset, Perine will take that workload. Perine will be in for some passing down, some third down plays, but Carson Steele will get the go, and he'll get the goal line. So
I think he might get the goal line. I think that part right. If I had to rank, those guys weren't worth any price for me because it's just too hard to tell who's going to be where. But if you were just to say, who do I think, at least for this week, I think Kareem Hunt probably has the better outlook over the longer term. Yeah. But I think Perine this week is going to be the guy.
Oh, yeah.
And he's the only one that didn't get picked up. That's my opinion, but I wasn't strong enough to pick him up.
If you had to start somebody out of those three this week, that's who you would start.
I think so.
And if you were just picking somebody up to keep them for later on in the season, you'd pick up Hunt.
Right. How many waiver claims did you put in this week? Did you put in any?
I didn't put in any. No, I didn't need any. My situation is AJ Brown and Ken Walker, so I'm basically just rotating people at the end of my bench for now. And I think the couple of people that I picked up, I think will be okay. I grabbed Darnell Mooney. And I grabbed Braylon Allen, but I grabbed Braylon Allen for the long term. I grabbed Darnell Mooney for now. So between Pickens and Mooney for me is my replacement for Ken Walker.
So I don't remember the exact number. I think it was 6. It might have been 7. I actually put in 6 or 7 waiver claims this week. Dunze was the only one I put in a price at $2. Everyone else I put in at $0 just in case. And I had all 3 Kansas City guys and a couple receivers. And it was just like price check bets or bids and kind of make sure I got somebody, and I got my first priority, which was a Dunze at the $2.
Yeah. So I think that might be a future 4th and long episode. I might have to pick your brain on your waiver wire strategy and then condense it and bring it as a 4th and long later on in the season.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah. All right, guys. Now it is time to see who's playing who in this week's matchups.
Down! Put!
This week's matchup.
All right, guys. I was going to save this one to the end, but let's get right to it. Starting off with our biggest matchup of the week. Amazing Spidey at 0-2 is playing Bernie's Team B at 1-1. What do you got on this matchup, Mr. Bernie?
Well, it looks like, as of now, you have got the big projection, and I think it's going to come down to that Sunday night game. That Sunday night game is really going to decide it. You've got the advantage, Mahomes and Bijan Robinson. Kelsey is your wild card, I think. And I've putting Cousins in this week. I think he's the good play, and I've got Rashee Rice going, and then Mooney is my wild card. So
wow, so we got potentially 5 players in this game. It looks like
6.
Well, I'll tell you this right now. I don't know what to do in my receiver room. They're all bad. They all have a chance to do anything.
Yeah.
I've got Kelsey as like my 4th guy rated. He's unlikely to play unless I just kind of I'd hate to miss a Kelsey game. Yeah. But he's shown nothing. There's been nothing to indicate that he's going to get any stats.
Yeah, but maybe the Pacheco injury is the spark that lights the fire. Say, hey, Travis, take off the fancy clothes. Let's stop with the parties. Let's focus on getting the thing, because it's honestly it's going to be the short yardage stuff. I mean, it's the dump offs.
I totally agree with you. I'm just hedging. I'm afraid if I put them both in and there's another dud, So
Yeah.
it's like if he throws 3 touchdowns to Kelsey, I'm cool taking the 3 touchdown passes from Mahomes and just missing out on that because I can't have another 2-catch game for 30 yards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm
But
not saying
see-
I'm not going to put him in, but the moment I'm going back and forth between Ridley, Robinson, and Andrews. I feel like there's someone else. Not a Dunze this week. I think those are the 3 guys I'm kind of going between. I'm only going to play 2 of them because my running backs are definitely my 2 flexes.
Yeah. You got a tough decision. I don't want to give you any advice because I'm playing you. I'm not going to tell you what I would do, except for I would start Kelsey, but that's me.
Oh man, you are definitely working the sabotage. All right, I respect it. I respect the game. That's all right. Okay, on to our next game here. We have Knicks waddle away at 1-1.
Then he waddled away, waddle, waddle. Then he waddled away, waddle, waddle. Then he waddled away.
Sorry, Alex.
Up against Andrew's Crazy Fish, who is up and down, just like a crazy fish would be, as he is now 1-1, starting out the season with the lowest score of the week. Following that up with the highest score of the week. What do you have for this matchup?
Well, I think that we're going to find out who Crazy Fish really is. He's hit both ends of the spectrum now. So we're going to find out what his team is, what his strategy is going to be. But I'm leaning towards Waddle Away. The only issue I have with Waddle Away is that Sam Laporta hasn't shown anything, and he's starting he's only starting 2 tight ends this week. That's my only concern there.
I can tell you from experience, playing 2 tight ends at the same time when you have other options is not the way to go.
Yeah. So if Waddle can pull this off, he has Tua and Pacheco on his team, and obviously they're both out. It would be pretty amazing. So I'm leaning that way, but I wouldn't be surprised if Crazy Fish takes it.
So the good thing for Crazy Fish is last week he had 3 of his duds totally rebound. He still has 1 dud on his team who hasn't had a good game yet. And with the injuries to the other receivers for the 49ers, this might be an IU can do it game instead of an IUK game. We'll find out. So I think, most players, but generally receivers, the way I look at them, you want 3 good ones because they have the good receivers have a great game every 3rd game kind of thing and a dud every 3rd game, and they're good the other 3rd game. So if you can so you don't need all of them to be good at the same time. You just need, if you're going to have one with a dud, you need one to step up. And Ayuk hasn't stepped up yet, and I think he can help carry the other receivers if they have a down game. Because the odds of Marvin Harrison having 2 monster games are not great, but who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, and he's got Burrow playing Monday night, and I think it might be inclement weather. I
haven't looked at that yet. Okay,
so that's the only kind of concern there for that quarterback situation. But
all right, on to our next game. Oh, this one is tough for both these teams. We have Reggie's Lions at 0-2 versus Katie's King George at 0-2. One of these guys is going to get their first win of the season. I guarantee it. And the other one's going to be 0-3. I guarantee that. And Reggie's Lions, like I said before, I have to look up the double check. 2 years ago, started out 0-6. Last year, started out 0-5. This is going to be a desperate day if he goes 0-3 for both teams. But Reggie's just going to, is going to lose it if he loses another game. What do you have on this matchup between these 2 basement-dwelling teams?
Well, it looks like Katie is going to start her Sam Darnold pickup. And I think she's got the advantage here. She's got Olave, who's on a hot team. She's got Mike Evans, Mr. Consistent. Reggie's got some good players, but he's got some up and downs going on over here on this side. So if he can get 3 touchdowns out of Lamar Jackson, 2 in the air and 1 on the ground, I think he's got a shot.
So so you got this as a Lamar Jackson game. If it's a Jackson stud day, he's got a good chance. If it's a Jackson, average man day, he's most likely going to lose this one, huh?
Yeah, because I see Katie's players being just consistent, and not hitting their ceilings or not, hitting their floors either. So, all
right, our next game, Paul's Cubit Rage atop the standings has had 2 monster weeks. I know he had 140 plus points the first game. I think he had, I don't remember, about 118 or so, if not 120 on the second game. He is getting tons and tons of points. He's at 2-0 against Corey's Mac Daddy 2, who's also 2-0. Either of these guys can handle a loss, no big deal. But the winner of this game is going to separate themselves and be at the top of the standings all by themselves. What do you have in this game?
I see. what do I see here? Yeah, I got leaning towards Paul on this one. I like Mac Daddy 2's. I'm sorry, Cubert Rage. I like Mac Daddy 2's lineup, but he is rolling with Caleb Williams again.
Wow.
Yeah. Waddle away has Jalen Waddle, but I'm not worried. I've got a Skylar take later on in the episode
Okay.
to get into. So I like Waddle away's chances on this one.
Well, I don't know if I don't know if I'm trying to convince anybody, but in our starts of the week, I've got a player of Corey that's on his bench, might make him double think about that starting lineup he's got going on right now. All right. Our next game on the list, we have Jimerson's Red Sox Nation at 0-2. I think he's like 5th overall in points, up against Ben's brilliant team at 2-0, who's our lowest scoring team of the season. He just picks his opponents, gets exactly what he needs to win. What do you have on this game?
Ooh, this is going to be a close one, I think. I see, you know what? No, I think the receiving core that Mike Jimerson had, or the receiving core that Red Sox Nation has is solid. He's got Lamb, London, Diggs, and Neighbors. So I don't see him going wrong there. He could have a flop on Ford and it'll be okay. Hurts will get him what he needs to. So I think he's got a more solid receiving core lineup than Ben's brilliant team.
So Ben's brilliant team has one of the ultimate wild cards in Anthony Richardson. So that's someone who can save you or break you.
Yeah. No comment.
Okay. All right. So is Red Sox Nation playing all 4 of those receivers? He's using his receivers for both of his flexes?
In his current lineup, he has all 4 of them in.
All right, guys. That is our matchups for this week. A lot of big time storylines. A bunch of 0-2 teams trying to get off the schneid here. Schneid. That's it. And the 2-0 teams trying to separate themselves. All right, guys. Now it is time to get into our updated power rankings.
By the power of Grayskull.
I'm living in it, no one man should have all that power.
Wingman Power Rankings.
All right, let's take a look at the power rankings starting from the bottom here. We have Ben's brilliant team once again holding on to that 12th position. And for the second straight week, Crazy Fish is in 11th. This is where we start to have a little bit of a change as Nick's Waddle Away was 7th the week prior, has dropped down to 10th, and Cubert's Rage is holding on to that 9th spot. Katie's King George went from number 1 down to 8. Red Sox Nation has moved up 1 spot from 8 to 7. Lion Eyes has fallen from 3 down to 6. Mac Daddy 2's has fallen down from 4 to 5, and this might be our biggest jump. I'm not sure here. I'm not doing the math here, but Team B went from 10th to 4th. Congratulations on that move, Team B, for your power rankings.
Thank you.
And then moving up from 6th to 3rd is They Took Our Jobs. Staying at number 2 is Spidey. I looked at the power rankings right before last week's game. I was number 1 for a moment and still lost. So Spidey is staying strong at 2, and the Fantastics moves up from 5th to 1st. Anything you want to add to that particular power ranking list there?
No, I think this kind of really illustrates the moves that have been made and the injuries and the way everything's kind of shaken out.
So I want to say one thing real quick. If you look at this, the top 4 teams, the Fantastics, Maze and Spidey, They Took Our Jobs, and Team B are all in the same division. We are clearly the best division by far. And we have Crazy Fish, Waddle Away, and Ben's brilliant team are all in the same division down there on the bottom. So once we get out of division play, we might have a chance to make some noise and take out the other division competitors. I'm hoping so because I am 0-2 in our division, and I have a feeling I'm going to be 0-3. I'm a little nervous. I'm not going to lie about that, Bernie.
Yep, I feel a lionized rant coming on.
Oh, we might bring in an extra. That's good. We'll bring in a remote ranter. That sounds good to me. All right. All right, guys. Now it's time to get into our starts of the week. Do you want to start first, or would you like me to start this one off?
Go ahead and start it up. Let me pull my list up.
We're going to start with the quarterback position, if that's okay.
Yep.
All right. We've talked about this guy in a lot of different ways. My start of the week at the quarterback position is Deshaun Watson versus the Giants.
Wow.
So the Giants, I was actually surprised that their overall fantasy points allowed to quarterbacks was not as high as I thought it might be.
Mm-hmm.
But if you take into account that last week, the Commanders got into the red zone 7 times and did not score 1 touchdown, I think that skews the actual fantasy points given up to fantasy points potentially earned. If half those are touchdowns, add another 15 points, to the opponent's score easily.
Yeah.
So I know the Browns aren't super high flying, but when they get close, Deshaun Watson likes to run these in. So that's one way they score. I think he's going to get off the schneid as well and hit Amari Cooper. I feel Amari Cooper's going to have a big week this week. And so I'm just it's the Giants. They have a great defense. They're not going to be they're going to be able to dictate this game. The only way Deshaun Watson doesn't have a big game is if they're able just to command the running game and make it unnecessary to pass. But being that they want to get Deshaun Watson going. If they're not going to, they'll use him to manage a game if they're not doing well and they can still win. But if they have any chance of freestyle, they're going to try and get him going because they need him to be a good quarterback for them to have any chance for the division, lead in their division, playoffs, anything past that. So Deshaun Watson's my start of the week for the quarterback.
Okay, I definitely have a question on you for this one. Quick.
Okay.
Deshaun Watson or Caleb Williams?
That's what I'm saying. Of course.
Who do you start? You starting Deshaun over Caleb?
Oh, for sure.
Oh,
he's my start of the week. And if you,
the
only people I'm not starting him over, those top 5 quarterbacks, give or take. I don't know exactly where I would have them ranked. It'd be questionable.
So you're putting Deshaun
between 6 and 8, and Caleb Williams is not that high.
He's QB 6 for the week for you. Wow.
Give or take. I haven't written it down, but it just
Yeah. I feel you. He's in that tier right there. Okay,
Yep.
I've got one for you. Skylar Thompson, Miami at Seattle. Okay. Hot sports take. Okay, there's no doubt. That there's going to be a drop off from Tua to Thompson from Tua to Skylar. I'm going to call him Skylar. The only question really is how far of a drop off, right? If you're looking at the glass half full, Thompson has been studying under McDaniel for 3 years, and he still gets to throw it to Tyreek. He still gets to throw it to Waddle, and he still gets Achane. So the Dolphins receivers, they're quick, they're fast, and they're going to match up well against the corners of the Seahawks, in my opinion. And it's still a tough place to playing in Seattle. But I think he's gonna outperform what the low expectation is. The bar set low. He's gonna outperform it. I have faith in Skylar.
All right. So first of all, I appreciate the bold call. That is, I forget which one it is.
Average Joe's win.
Nope, wrong button.
That's the one you're gonna play next week. That's the one you're gonna play next week.
We got a bolt. I'm gonna play that one again because I messed up, but that's all right. We're having fun here. Ready? So he said Skylar Thompson is going to be the start of the week. First of all,
strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
So
now let me wait. Let me put one caveat in there.
Yes.
There's a couple teams that need a quarterback, and their quarterback play is kind of thin. So I'm not saying you're going to start Skylar over, I don't know, Jalen Hurts. Clearly you're not going to do that. But there's some teams that need help.
So you kind of put him at the top of that streamer list, and like a surprise top of the streamer starts.
Oh yeah.
All right. So before I was having fun there, first of all, I appreciate the bold call. Hey, go for it, man. That's what we're here for. So at a quick glance, if you have any of that information up, what is he projected to get? And you think he's definitely going to outproduce that, I'm assuming. And what range you think he can get to based on what you're hoping for?
Oh Jesus!
If you can't find, that's fine. I'm gonna assume he's projected for 13.5 to 14.5 points. So you think he can get to 18 points?
I think Skylar could get to, at Seattle, he's going to get at least 2 passing touchdowns.
Okay.
I think he's probably going to hit the 250 mark in yards.
So he's a Sam Darnold play this week. You think he's going to be a Sam Darnold?
Yeah. I really do. I really do.
Okay.
And I
just want to kind of get an idea what we're looking at.
And all it takes is, the 2 or 3 passes over to Tyreek. Tyreek's going to bust one of them for like 50 or 60. So, that's a quarter of his points coming in right there.
So in all fairness, 2 years ago when Tua had his bad concussion problems there where he missed several games because he got a concussions in back-to-back games and then was out, I forget how long. Let's just say 5 to 8 games. Skylar Thompson came in. That's when he played in the playoffs, and he looked awful in the playoffs. But during the regular season, again, they weren't nearly as good. But Tyreek Hill still got to eat. Like you said, he's someone you can throw short and long, and he can make up yards after the catch. He doesn't need to catch great, in breaking routes. You can just give him the ball and let him do the work himself.
Right.
Jalen Waddle, though, however, in that span, plummeted, if you will.
Yeah, but Jalen was playing off that year, I think. I mean, there was something up with Jalen that year.
Potentially. I'm just saying what the stats were. Like, even with Skylar Thompson, because I kind of forgot about it, but I had Tyreek Hill that year, his first year with the Dolphins, and he was a solid play all the way until week 15 when they kind of started to slow down, and he might have even been tweaked by that time.
Right. So time under his belt, he's projected for 14.5 points against Seattle.
Whoa, I nailed that. All right.
Yeah. So I think he can get over that. I think he can get somewhere between 15 and 20 points.
Okay. All right. Very good. I like it. Bold calls from the quarterback starts of the week. All right, guys, we'll keep an eye on that one. All right, our running back start of the week. This one comes from me here. I don't know if you call this a bold move. I think it kind of is because he's not an automatic, but Jordan Mason versus the LA Rams. Usually I go a little deeper cut here, but the LA Rams give up the 4th most points to running back, and with the receiver injuries for the 49ers, this has a potential to be a 28 carry day for Jordan Mason. I think he's going to be the bell cow that he has been already. Remember I said these guys get potentially tired? He had his tired game last week. Now his body's regulating, getting used to it. He only had 20 carries last week, which is still a lot, but I think they slowed him down because, like I said, I think he was a little muscle fatigue, not winded or anything, but just a little fatigued from the big workload the week before. I think he's going to settle into that 22 to 26 carry a day, and with the limited options, I think he's going to be the man. I'm looking for 115 yards and 2 scores for this week.
Oh, wow. I would hit the button on that. That's an obvious move, Cotton. Of course, we're going to start Jordan Mason. Come on now.
All right.
No, it's a good call.
I got a couple sneaky starts here. If you want me to do it now, or you want me to do it after your start?
No. I think that's good. That's a good call. So I'm gonna go a different route as well. I'm gonna go to Cleveland, and I'm gonna say don't give up on Jerome Ford.
Okay.
So they turn to their other guys. They have Foreman and Strong to play as a committee. Foreman only ran 3 yards per carry and fumbled. And Strong, he went down with a hamstring injury, it looks like here. So Ford is going to be the guy with Deshaun, like you said, going to be stepping up and playing a little bit better. I think that Ford has a place to play. The Giants are not threatening at all. So I think it's going to be a good game script. I think Ford has got a little bit more of a confidence boost. And I think that he is going to be a must start.
I do not disagree with any of that. The only thing I'm worried about and just making a call on this is not being confident which running back's going to get the most of the work. But the Browns running game is set up to very much succeed in this game.
Yes. Okay. I think the fumble really hurts Foreman. So I think that Ford is going to be the guy.
Okay. So I've got a couple sneaky starts. I would actually consider starting these guys, especially if it depends on the makeup of your team. If you've only got one running back or he's hurt, these are guys I would definitely consider playing. These are like flex style plays, depending on your roster. Zamir White for the Raiders.
I had him. He was a potential for me to say, yep.
So they're playing the Panthers, which so far has been a gold mine. The only things that make this a little unsure is that Zamir White's been splitting a little bit of time with Alexander Madison.
Yep.
But the coaches and all their coach speak during the week is like Zamir White's got to get the ball, and we've got to. So sorry, the Raiders have rushed the ball the least amount of times this season, which is a little odd, and they've thrown the ball the most, or at least percentage of plays. I'm not sure how they did it, if it was total or percentage of plays run. So that's a little bit of a surprise because the Raiders want to run the ball. Their offensive line is not playing particularly well, but when you have a chance, so let's put it this way: if Zamir White gets off to a good start, he's going to fill it up. If they can't run against the Panthers, then they're going to just go to their game that's been working for them in the passing game. The other part of this is how much is Andy Dalton going to change the script in this game? It's kind of asking a lot, but it's possible. With Bryce Young, I would say this is almost a definite call. So there's a couple. So he's set up to succeed, but there are question marks. Is he going to split time? Are the Raiders just that bad at running? And is Andy Dalton going to change the game script? Those are things you got to worry about. But if he's your fourth running back and you have to start 2, I think he'd move up at least to 3 or 2 on your list, depending on who you have.
Yeah.
The other guy I have on this list for a sneaky start, DeAndre Swift for the Bears. They are playing the Colts, I believe. The Colts have given up 150 yards to both running backs they have played. This is similar to the other game here, as the offensive line in terms of the running game has not been good for the Bears. But here's the thing. We saw last year, DeAndre Swift is not good at finding the hole, but if the hole is too big to miss, he can make plays. And the Colts give big holes to run through, and their nose tackle, Buckner, I think it's DeForest Buckner, is going to miss this week, making the holes even bigger. DeAndre Swift doesn't have to be a good running back. He just has to run fast through the biggest gap on the field. This will be his one game this year where he is going to be playable. Take advantage of that if you need a surprise start.
Okay, 2 things. Zamir White, I agree with. He got over 60% of the snaps last week and was involved in the passing game more than Madison was. I actually had Madison, and I had dropped him to get some help at the end of my bench. So I agree with you there. DeAndre Swift, though, the only issue I have with that is Khalil Herbert is their goal line back. He's getting those touches on the goal line. So it's kind of an intriguing thing that Caleb does need help. So I would venture to say that you're going to see both of those guys a lot.
Fair enough.
Yeah. All right.
We'll definitely keep an eye on those guys. All right. Who do you have for your wide receiver start of the week? Actually, we didn't discuss this. All right. Let's see if we have the same one. Hopefully not.
We probably.
I got a backup one if I need it. I'm good.
Okay. So I got Jalen Naylor from Minnesota.
Ooh.
He's playing Houston in Minnesota. So Naylor has scored in each of the first 2 weeks, and he should have a good shot to make it 3 in a row. I think Jordan Addison opened the week missing practice. So he might be on a little bit of a short leash there. Justin Jefferson is going to get, obviously, the look from the Texans. So Naylor, he's fast. He can win in deep single coverage. And Sam, he's got a connection with him. He's got some timing down with him. So I'd say Naylor is a must start.
So again, I love, last week you kind of picked top tier players. Now you're looking for the values. I love that. Yep. Naylor showed me it had nothing to do with fantasy points. So this is a very potentially irrelevant thing, but he did one of the things that I love when I watch football players. You recall obviously the 97-yard touchdown reception by Justin Jefferson.
Yep.
When he ran to the left, stopped, and then ran back to the right.
Yep.
Did you notice at the end of that play who was sprinting down the field to try and block those last 2 guys?
Yep, I sure did.
I love that. I remember there was a game a long time ago. Terrell Owens was at Dallas at this time, and I don't know which player caught the ball. Maybe Miles Austin. I don't know who it was. And Owens is he did it in a competitive way. He likes to show off, obviously.
Yeah.
He was behind the play, because when I saw this in the replay, they did it like NFL film style, so you could see it like from the sidelines.
Yeah.
Like kind of mixed in with the players and stuff. He was like 20 yards behind the play, and he sprinted down the sideline to catch the play and sent the last block. And I know he did it because he's like, I'm gonna see if I can catch these guys. Like in his head, his competitive freak nature.
Yeah.
But that play, Terrell Owens got a bad rap, but I always liked the guy. I thought he was a weirdo, but he was super competitive and super awesome.
Yeah.
So anyway, I know it's not the same type of player, but I'm like, when Naylor running that play all the way, that guy caught the ball 60 yards down the field to start with. I don't know where Naylor started from, but he came in flying from off the screen to seal off those last 2 blocks. They were probably unnecessary as Jefferson had it, but the fact that he was attentive, uses energy, didn't just watch. I love that stuff. And like I said, coaches love that stuff too. And that's
the key. There's no fantasy value in that block, but there is the coach's eye, and the plays are getting called. Your numbers getting called. Everybody's, seeing that. And
with the injuries to Addison, he is the second receiver. He's whenever they're going to, double and triple cover Jefferson, Naylor's he's not going to get 7 catches. He's going to get 4 catches, but he's get a touchdown every week so far.
Yeah. So Naylor's my guy. Who do you got?
Jamar Chase. I know this is a little high. I know. Jamar Chase coming off 2 duds is up against the Commanders, and the Washington Commanders give up the most points to wide receivers, starting off with both Chris Godwin and Mike Evans in week 1 for a total of 3 touchdowns. And last week, Malik Neighbors
You be my neighbor.
had 18 targets, over 100 yards with 10 catches, I think, maybe 11 catches and a touchdown. This is the game you want to go against. Jamar Chase has had duds, squeaky wheel game, Monday night bonanza for the Bengals. Jamar Chase is going to make up for those last 2 games. You were going to start him anyway, but start him with the utmost confidence. But put him in your flex spot because it is a Monday night game.
So okay, wait, whose team is he on in our league?
He's on Waddle Away's team. That's going to be the
Ooh, okay. Let's see what. I'm pulling up Waddle Away. So
that might be. I think he's playing Crazy Fish, right? That might be one of the big name players that's going to help him come back in that game.
Let's see here. Why can't I find it? All right, never mind.
It's okay. So
Gotcha.
I was gonna have Burrow for the start of the week, but I didn't want to have 2 of the same team,
Mm-hmm.
So I went with Watson there and Jamar Chase here. And if you had somebody else, I would have done Amari Cooper. The Browns and Bengals are the offenses in the passing game I'm looking for this week.
Gotcha. Now it's a good call with Chase. You would assume that he is a must start every week, but if he was on my team, I would be hesitant. I don't 3 weeks in a row, especially if I'm going in, 0-2 or 1-1. I don't want another loss. That sucks. So,
it's more
he's
not
got
like
Chase.
if you're going to start him. This is like what you can expect from this guy this time around.
Yeah, he doesn't really have anybody on his bench that would replace Chase, but it's a good call. It's a good call.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. It is time for your favorite Thursday or Friday morning segment and mine. It is 4th and Long with Bernie.
First down, the game's over. Go for it.
This measurement could determine the Giants'
It is
season.
time for 4th and Long.
With Bernie.
Hello, fantasy world. Welcome back to 4th and Long. Actually, you know what? We're going to change the name of the show just for this episode. We're going to call it the Gridiron Gripes. Welcome back to Gridiron Gripes, the show where we tackle the NFL's most controversial topics. I'm your host, Bernie. You all know me, aka Team B. You ready to dive into a subject that is sure to ruffle some feathers and maybe, lose us a sponsor or 2. Who knows? All right. Today, we're asking the question, who has the worst fan base in the NFL? I know you all have an opinion on that, depending on who your favorite team is. But okay. So now, before we start, let's get one thing straight. Okay. Every team has their share of great fans, not so great fans, and everybody in the middle, average people. So we're painting with broad strokes here, folks. So don't take it personally if your team gets mentioned. Remember, this is all in good fun, okay? Don't come find me. Don't send me any messages. It'll be okay. Leave a comment, though, if you disagree or agree. All right, let's kick things off with a fan base that often finds themselves at the tops of this list. You all know it. Say it together with me. The Philadelphia Eagles. Known for their passion, some might say overzealousness, support, the Eagles fans have a reputation that precedes them. From booing Santa Claus, cheering opposing players' injuries, they've earned their spot in the conversation. But it's fair to label But is it fair to label an entire fan base on a few notorious incidences? Yes, I think so, but that's for you to decide. All right, moving on. All right, so another contentious contender, the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Cowboys fans might be scratching their heads wondering how they ended up here. After all, they call themselves America's team. But that's precisely the problem for many NFL enthusiasts. The perceived arrogance, the constant media attention, and the insistence on living in past glory days can rub other fan bases the wrong way. You know what I mean? So, plus, let's be honest, how many of those fans actually been to Dallas? All right. Let's not forget about the New England Patriots. This holds a special place in my heart. I know for most of our viewers down in South Florida, this holds a special place in their hearts too. So after 2 decades of dominance, their fan base has grown, let's say, accustomed to success. The constant expectation of winning, combined with the perceived lack of humility, has made them prime targets for the resentment from other fan bases. The majority of them are in the AFC East. But hey, can you blame them for getting used to those Super Bowl parades? All right, now we can't have this conversation without mentioning Oakland. Sorry, Las Vegas. I did this last week too. The black hole has a reputation for intensity that rivals Phillies. The face paint, the spikes, the overall intimidating vibe. It's a lot to take in, but it is all just theatrics, or does it cross a line? Who knows? That's up for a debate, I think. All right, here we go. Here's a curveball for you. What about the Jacksonville Jaguars? Wait, you might be thinking, they don't even have fans. Therein lies the problem. Apathy can be just as frustrating as over enthusiasm. Empty seats and lack of energy can be a real buzzkill for the NFL experience. But let's take a step back just for a moment. It's not fair to label any fan base the worst. Every team has its diehards, its fair weather fans. Maybe the real problem isn't with any particular fan base, but with the tribalism that sports can sometimes encourage. Think about it. We're all fans of the game, right? We all love the thrill of the last minute touchdown, the strategy of the well executed play, the drama of a close match that's decided by the players and not the refs. Let me just put that in there. Perhaps instead of pointing fingers, we should celebrate the diversity of NFL fandom, the game. After all, the passion of the fans, yes, even the worst ones, that makes the NFL the spectacle that it is. So, who really has the worst fan base in the NFL? Is it the team with the most obnoxious supporters, the ones who take things too far, or is it the ones that don't seem to care at all? In the end, it's subjective. One fan's worst is another fan's most passionate. So I'll leave you with this. Maybe the worst NFL fan base is the one that spends too much time worrying about other fan bases instead of enjoying the game for themselves. It's a little food for thought, So I'm going to leave you with the one that I think is the worst, and that is the New England Patriot fan bases and Boston fans in general. They're great people. I've got lots of friends that are Boston fans, but when it comes to their sporting teams, they suck. Not the teams, the fans. All right, that's all I got for you guys this time. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to hear. Michael, who do you think is the worst fan base?
Oh, first of all, I was listening, but I took 3 more shots while you were on the front of the page there. So just so you know, worst fans. That's tough because I love everybody,
and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We should love everybody.
I was getting ready to defend one of our league mates here, Mac Daddy 2, who's a big time Patriots fan. Although I have to say he's pretty mild about it. He's one of the most mild Patriots fans I've ever met, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and Mac Daddy 2, it's a great guy. Like I'm so happy that he plays in our league, that he comes to the drafts, that we play poker together. Like he's a really nice guy. I like him personally. So I probably don't want to watch a game with him if his team's playing, because then I might not like him as much as I like him now.
I don't know. I'm just gonna leave that alone because I think I kind of agree with you, but I don't want to alienate any more people. Yes, no. I noticed most. I was gonna say I was getting ready to say you had an East Coast bias there. Then you mentioned the Vegas Raiders there. So
yeah. So it is what it is. It's all in good fun though. But let us know what you think.
Awesome. All right, guys. So now it is time. Oh, it is time. It's time to see who's on fire.
He's on fire.
In this week's Wingman Jam.
Wingman Fantasy Football.
Wingman Jam with Bernie the Bounty Hunter and Amazing Spidey. Boom shakalaka. All right, so this is the third week of our Wingman Jam. After week one, I was up over Bernie by 3-1 on our 4 prop bets, where we do 2 fantasy prop bets and 2 NFL prop bets, and I had a great lead. And I can either say I gave it all back or Bernie earned it all back. That's more likely, as he got 3-1 this past week, and now the total is tied at 4-4. Let's just go over last week's picks real quick. Our first one was a fantasy matchup. Crazy Fish versus Red Sox Nation, where Red Sox Nation was favored by 7 points at the time of the show. Although I did notice the very next day the spread went down to 2 points. So that wasn't a good sign to start with. But Crazy Fish had the highest score of the week. He took this one down. Not only did he cover, he won this game outright. So Mike got the wrong pick there, and Bernie got the right pick, picking Crazy Fish to cover the spread. On to our next game. Our next prop bet here. This was also from Team B. The first one was from me. I brought that one up. Second one here was from Team B. This was the NFL one, and he gave me a gift here so I could get one right. He said the Chicago defense would score a TD, and I said the odds were against it, and I almost got that one wrong, as we saw the Bears on, I think it was Sunday night, had an interception that just touched the turf, and the guy got up and ran it back. So if that wasn't for that, I would be 0-4 this week. But I did get it right. So at this point, the Chicago defense did not score a TD. So at this point, we are 1-1. On to our next one. This was also brought up by Bernie. And this was the NFL one, or fantasy one, I apologize. Who would score more points from the kicker position on the Monday night game? Not only was it the Eagles versus the Falcons, it was also, you have to remind me, it was also Katie versus King George versus...
Oh, man.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So not only do we have the teams playing each other, but we had the fantasy managers who had those kickers on their teams playing each other on that night. And he said that Young Shui Koo would outkick Elliott, and it was close. I think it was 10-7. If I'm not mistaken. But nonetheless, I picked Elliott. He picked Koo, and Koo had the most points in that matchup. So now it is 2-1 in favor of Bernie.
All right,
and last one.
That was Katie and Mac Daddy 2s, and Koo was 10,
yeah.
and Elliott was 7. Yep.
There we go. This next one, I actually changed my mind in the middle of the show, and I wish I didn't. As I said that the Titans would cover the 3.5 points that the Jets were favored on the road, and I was mistaken. I didn't write down the final score here was, but the Jets won this game by, of course, more than 3.5. So the Jets did cover, giving Bernie a 3-1 lead on this week, making the final through 2 weeks 4-4. We are tied after 2 weeks.
Ooh. That's
so
good.
We're going to do we mentioned this before. We're going to do something a little different while we're tied here. Winner takes all on this one.
All right.
We are going to do a true Wingman Jam style. We're going to pick 2 NFL players, 2-on-2, straight fantasy points. The way we're going to do it, we're going to pick players. We're each going to pick players in 2 different rounds from our real life draft. So I'm going to roll the dice here. The first dice is 1 through 6. The second roll will be round 7 through 12. So let's do that first. The first round we're going to pick from here is round 5. I'll put the draft board up in a second. Okay. So the first is round 5. Second one we're going to go through is 10. There's enough guys in 10. We'll do that. All right. So now we're going to roll one more time to see who's going to go first. We're going to do a snake draft. One team's going to pick 1 and 4. One team's going to pick 2 and 3. We're going to use as a heads and tail here, Bernie. Do you want odds or evens?
I'll take odds.
I did not hear. Odds? Okay. Yep. Oh, I dropped it, but I caught it. 2. So I get to pick if I want to go first or second. Let me take a glance at the board here real quick. 5 and 10. Let me put that board up for you guys so you can see it. Sorry. I know this is captivating while I look this over here. All right. Oh, man.
Got a lot.
We're only picking receivers.
A lot of choices here, buddy. A lot of choices.
Yeah, there are a lot of choices. We're only picking receivers or running backs, any combination of those positions. Shoot, man. I guess I'll do first and fourth.
Okay.
My first pick, I'm going to go with Amari Cooper. We're doing this on a quick glance, so we don't have a lot of time to think about it. I'm going Amari Cooper. I said he'd be one of the starts of the week, or potentially a start of the week. I'm going to go for it. Amari Cooper is my first pick.
Okay, what were the rounds again? I'm sorry. Say it again.
5 and 10.
5 and 10, and you picked Cooper?
Correct.
All right, let me write that
So you get the
down.
next 2 picks. Pick 1 from 5 and 1 from 10.
All right, got a little Jeopardy music for me?
What's that?
You got a little Jeopardy music for me?
not ready to go.
No, you could hum it. It's okay.
Ding, 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 ding,
10.
ding, 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 ding. Is that helping you think?
Oh, it is for sure.
Okay. Oh, you got one of your guys on this list here, I see, in the 5th round.
Yep. All right. I'm gonna do Rashid Shaheed in round 10.
Ooh. Oh, nice. I didn't even see him. Nice. That's a great pick. All right. You also get another pick. This one has to come from round 5.
Has to come from 5. I'm gonna go with Mr. Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon.
Where is he?
Waddle away, round 5.
Oh, geez. Right there. Right in my middle of the face. Right in my face. All right. Nice. So you have Joe Mixon and Rashid Shaheed. Wow. All right. I'm making mistakes already here. Okay. Round 10. I guess I'm going to go Khalil Shakir. That's all I got. So I made a mistake there. So what are our so we're 2-on-2. We're going to do straight fantasy points based on our Yahoo League here. We're going to add them up, and the winner is going to take the first round of the Wingman Jam. So once again, mention your team to our viewers out there.
Rashid Shaheed on the fabulous New Orleans Saints, and Joe Mixon on the coming up Houston Texans.
I'm going to I got to make a statement here. Maybe I should have said it before, but if a guy's hurt, that's on you. We have the information we got with it. We'll make these picks.
Yep.
All right. So if Mixon doesn't play, you're on a.
Yep.
All right. Fair enough. And I've got Amari Cooper and Khalil Shakir. I like your guys at a glance. I'm not going to lie, but anything can happen here.
All right.
All right, guys. Thank you for that. We'll see how this one plays out. Now it is time to get into the mailbag.
You've got mail. Wingman Fantasy Football.
Mailbag! All right, let me first off by saying thank you so much to Ken who responded to last week's 4th and Long. He said that The Replacements was his favorite football movie, the easiest one to watch. Anytime he saw it on TV, he could easily just sit back and just zone out and watch that one. So thank you for responding there. I tend to agree that's it's just an easy watch. You can pick it up any part of the movie and follow along. Oh, I got a little trivia question about The Replacements there.
Go for it.
The kicker in that movie, the actor who plays the kicker.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what House of Dragon character he plays?
Ooh, no, I don't. I can see his face, but I don't know the guy's name.
It's Otto Hightower.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
Looks a lot different with a mustache and beard than he does with the blonde, scraggly hair there.
Yeah, he sure does.
All right, that was it. No big deal. All right, we've got another mailbag entry here. This one comes from the Fantastics. We mentioned about his draft day drinking and how he thought that his drink of choice helped him draft a very strong team. There is no denying his team is very strong, as they are the top of the power rankings and 1-1 in a very strong division, the best division, the Snap Crackle Pop division. And coming out of this one, he asked, what is your draft day drink of choice or ritual? Do you have any strategies when it comes to the drink you're going to choose during draft time?
Actually, no. I try to stay sober during the actual draft. I don't want any sort of intoxication, so I might do a Monster before the draft to stay up to get that caffeine going. But I try to limit the alcohol just from previous experiences where I tend to get a little bit loosey and have a little bit too much fun. I don't want to have too much fun in the bad way, not fun in the good way.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, I usually start with a Gatorade because I'm usually up till 5 a.m. setting up all the tents and stuff out in the backyard for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
But I usually crack that first Shipyards Pumpkinhead of the season right around the 3rd or 5th round. I usually start a little earlier than everybody else but I'm sipping that thing. I get through about 2 or 3 before the draft. Not advocating, you guys do what you got to do. We're just answering the question here. Definitely start off with a water or Gatorade, but I tend to get into that flavored light beer at least in the first third of the draft, and then I get 1 or 2 more going through the. I usually have my third one with the hot when the pizza rolls come out.
So you're drinking Shipyard, you said, right?
Yeah, Pumpkinhead.
Yes. Yeah. So you're getting like the early season. You're getting like the first batches that come out, drinking it that early.
Exactly. Only 1 or 2 years does it knock it out by Labor Day. It's usually out that second to third week of August. So we usually buy several 6-packs on that first run, and that lasts us through Labor Day.
Yeah, good on that, man. I like that.
All right, guys. So I think that's gonna be it. Well, not entirely yet. We're almost there. I want to remind you guys, I always forget this on this show, is to go ahead and head over to wingmanfantasyfootball.com/game day. On this page over here, this is the page I use to get myself ready. Open this one up first thing on Sunday morning. It has the football news on the left side of the page. On the right side of the page, you have prominent reporters' Twitter feeds on there. And right now it is up and running, thanks goodness. In the middle of the page, you open this page first, and you have links going right to your fantasy football websites. We have CBS Sports, ESPN, NFL.com, Yahoo Sports, SleeperBot, and Underdog Fantasy. Just open this page up, and it'll be your portal to anything you need. Also, the best part, we've added this last year, in the middle of the page here, has the inactive list. Comes out 90 minutes before the game. This thing uploads right when that list comes out. This is the best tool out there. I do use it from Wire, but I embed it right into the page so you can see the inactive list right when it comes out. And a little further down, it's a little redundant here, but I also have the inactive list on this right side here if you want to see it in an easier list read. That one usually takes about 20 minutes to refresh. So if you want it right away, check the middle. If you want a little easier to read, go to the right, and on the very bottom of the page gives you all the weather for the NFL cities. This is not like New York for the Jets and Giants. It's East Rutherford. We put the right city for where the stadium is. It'll tell you the weather for the stadium. So check out this page on your Sunday mornings, and it'll give you everything you need in terms of getting your lineups set and getting the most up-to-date news. So go to wingmanfantasyfootball.com/game day to go ahead and do that. And don't forget, go to wingmanfantasyfootball.com/YouTube to check out our YouTube channel. Go ahead and leave a like, a thumbs up, subscribe, notification bell, leave a comment, and we'll read your comments on the next mailbag. So thank you so much for doing that. We have got 2 more subscribers last week, so we are moving up, guys. We're doing very well. I appreciate all the support out there. Don't forget, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, and YouTube Music for our audio feeds. You can also get our audio and video feeds at wingmanentertainment.net/podcast. And of course, check out our YouTube channel at wingmanfantasyfootball.com/YouTube. Thank you guys all so very much. With that being said, may your glasses be full, your mug stay frosty.
And remember, like a perfectly poured pint, success in fantasy is all about timing and patience.
Oh my gosh, this guy is a Zen master. All right, guys, we will see you next time.